Hey everyone, this is Alexander James Guitars, and on this episode of Fix It Friday, I'm going to show you how to make a tone control for your guitar. So I've got to make a couple tone controls for some guitars I have coming up. I'm going to show you one, just so that you get an idea of how to make a tone control. It's fairly simple. This video should be pretty short. Basically, the components that I have are solder, 500K potentiometers, and in this case, 0.022 microfarad capacitors. To understand wiring the potentiometer, I'm going to draw up a little wiring diagram for you. When looking at the potentiometer, I'm going to be drawing it up from the bottom view. So here we have the casing, so I'll draw the casing. Then we have the three lugs. I'm going to draw those. And there we go. We have the wire diagram of the actual potentiometer. Now what I want to do is I want to add in where this capacitor is going to be going. I want it to go from the middle lug. Here's the capacitor body. And then the other leg of the capacitor soldered to the back of the potentiometer casing. So soldered here and soldered here. Physically, it would kind of look like this. You would trim the excess off of the leads, but you'd want to put the one leg of the capacitor through the middle and the other one soldered to the back of the casing on the potentiometer. From here, if we wanted to wire it to a volume control, I can draw that in. So I'll draw the casing of the volume control. We'll put vol on it for volume. I'm going to draw the three lugs. So we're looking at the volume control this way, and the tone we're looking at this way. So here's the volume. Then this left lug of the tone would go up and go to this lug of the volume. Then obviously the volume would go out to the output source, like the output jack. Now for this capacitor to work, because it's going to the casing of the tone control has to be grounded, the casing. And I usually use my master volume control as the main ground. This is where I would collect all of the grounds for this system in the guitar. So you would solder from the back of the tone control to the back of the volume control. That would be the ground. And then same with this lug right here on the volume. It needs to be grounded as well, so it goes to the back of the volume casing here. I've put the tone control into this device here to just hold it still for me while I work on it. As I said before, we want to run one leg of the capacitor through the middle lug of the tone, the other one soldered to the casing back on the tone control. You can put the capacitor in any orientation that you really want. I'm going to put it this way and bend this leg into the middle lug. That way the capacitor stays neatly on the top of the casing and it's more so out of the way than this orientation. I'm just going to take it. I'm going to bend the one lead out like this, and I'm going to insert it in like this, and I want to put this lead in as far as possible. If you don't, sometimes this lead could touch the casing and ground itself out here. Just make sure that that's bent away or pushed in to the lug as much as possible, something like this, and that'll stop this lead from grounding out. First off, I'm going to solder the lead onto the back of the potentiometer casing. Grab my soldering iron. I'm just going to place it right up here and heat both the leg and the back of the casing. Just wait a little bit. Bring your solder in. Pull the soldering iron away. There we go. Now I'm going to go in and I'm going to solder the other leg of the capacitor. It's a full connection, perfect. Now you want to go in and you want to trim the excess. So I'll go in and cut just right after my soldering job. And then cut the other lead close to the tones lug. There we go. Just a quick little tip. Those leads that we cut off, the excess from the capacitor, keep those because you can use those when trying to wire one of the lugs to the back of the casing for ground, such as in this volume we want to wire this lug to ground. So rather than bending this lug up to the casing, this one right here, you can just use the excess of these capacitor leads and solder it to the back of the casing and the lug that way. So there we go, that's it. That's pretty much how you wire a tone control, and then following this simple diagram, you can wire that tone control to a volume control. I find this is one of the easiest ways to wire a tone control, so it's the way I use. So I hope that helps you out. Hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.